Tony, how would you assess how the defense has improved over the course of the season? Seems like it's really taken a step over the last month, particularly up the middle with Jarrell and Cortland.
Yeah, I think guys are getting comfortable with their roles. I mean, it was a very competitive battle at both those spots, and I think that's made both of those guys better. I mean, that's what competition does to you. Of course, we have it within the league, and then each team in the league has it within their own group. And Logan Steenstra could play every day to either of those two spots very easily. Obviously, anytime we've put Simo out there, he's done well at second. And there's other guys too. And Jarrell spent some time moving around all over the infield. You've seen him play first, but he played all four spots during the fall. So I think there's a level of comfort settling in for him, and then also maybe a little less stress for Cortland, that he knows he's kind of our everyday guy there, and he knows where he hits in the lineup for the most part, and he knows what his role is, and he's done a great job at it.
Blade last weekend threw about 75 pitches. Are y'all willing to stretch him out more this weekend, and just what did you see from him in his last start?
Yeah, I wasn't in the dugout, so not my call to take him out. It looked like he could have gone for a while, but I think our staff had, I'm kind of joking, we talked about it. You know, we were hoping he'd give us a true start. He told us he could, but you also want to recognize you're in the middle of the year, at least middle of conference season, so there's more to come for him. And I think if he can stack a little bit, as we go each week, now you're looking at him being comfortable in a 100-pitch area or throwing maybe into the 7th, even 8th inning once postseason play rolls around.
Mike.
Tony, you guys have a lot of guys that are being talked about as high-level MLB picks this year and into the years beyond. What's gone into stacking that much talent, and how important is that when you're getting guys to campus, developing them, and into having the success that you're having this season?
Yeah, you had the answer within there, getting guys to campus. Someone sent me, actually it was a former, Theo Hooper was a phenomenal student intern for us in the video room, and he sent a home run that Johnny Ornalis hit. Johnny Ornalis is a shortstop we signed a while back. It's like a 430-foot homer, and it was great to see Johnny doing well, but it also pains me every time I see Johnny doing well because he's one of many guys like Aaron Ashby, who's pitching for the Brewers. He threw on opening day in relief, and I could go on down the line. But I was shocked at how well we did in recruiting right when we got here. But kids like Knoxville, when they visit it, it's a great school, and of course the league speaks to itself. So we were able to sign on a pretty talented class right out of the gate and then stack some after that, a tribute to Coach Elander's hard work. But getting guys to say no to money out of high school, like Blade Tidwell did, Jordan Beck, Drew Gilbert, those are the guys you're speaking on. That's what goes on in our league. And I don't know, we don't really have a big anti-MLB speech we give guys at all. It's kind of like the way we coach our kids. They've got freedom to do what they, feel is best. I'm not one to say what is a great deal of money and what is not, but it's a tough experience to pass up the league if you're going to join a winning program and get to do all the things that these kids get to do. And I think those are a few guys that recognized it, and they're reaping the benefit from it.
Hey, Coach, can you give your thoughts on Auburn and what challenges they present this weekend?
Yeah, we have a job to look at the entire weekend, but really it filters down to tomorrow night is the first round, and it's the most important game. We'll obviously have the tall task, what everyone's had, of trying to get Sonny DeShera out. And I hope I've heard his last name pronounced a couple different ways, but I think either way there's some Italian blood in there, so you can't hate him too much. But he will be wearing a different color, and he's a huge threat. I mean, the numbers are off the charts, and he sits in the middle of the lineup like a couple of our big thumpers do, but he's also surrounded by guys starting at the top, one of the better leadoff hitters in the league. It is a well-balanced attack. And then we'll face a kid, Hayden Mullins, who's a lefty, came out of high school, excuse me, as a potential first-rounder, really out of high school, and I'm not sure, you guys look at that stuff more than I do where he stacks up now, but he's one of those kids that's from Tennessee that we were hoping to turn this program around with Tennessee kids. He selected Auburn, and I believe it's gone well for him, but he's a tough lefty that we'll see to start the game. So those are two names that stick out, but it's a well-balanced team. I would comp it to Alabama. I know they're from the same state, and maybe they don't like each other, but they're coming off a hot streak like Alabama was when they came in here. very well balanced. Coaches that took over, kind of around the time that we did, and now they've got things rolling. So it'll be just as much of a battle as that weekend was. Some similarities there, but obviously Auburn is unique unto themselves.
Tony, their Sunday starter, Joseph Gonzalez, seems to have put together a pretty underrated resume this season. Just what have you seen from him and their pitching staff as a whole? I know you just spoke on one.
Yeah, and you took my focus on Friday thing and just threw it right out the window. But no, I think one of the reasons they're having a successful year is they have that strength on the back end. And we fight tooth and nail to kind of know what our rotation is, but a lot of times it could be the draft, it could be an injury. Some of us are left with TBA on Sunday or kind of a revolving door on Sunday. And last year it was Blade Tidwell for us, and Drew Beam is the guy this year, and for them it's Gonzalez. And his numbers are actually the best out of all their weekend starters. And they've also got a closer. I don't know what the save. John Wilkerson probably knows what the most saves in the SEC is, but 11's a lot. So we mentioned a well-balanced offensive attack, but also they've got guys who can get them to the fifth inning and keep them within range. And then they've always got good left-handed pitching out of the bullpen, but some strength there at the end too, as I spoke on.
Mike, Jack, and then John, Brian.
How nice is it to have a guy like Camden with what he's done the last 2 weekends with 4+ innings in relief and a couple of really big moments? And I guess how much do you like deploying him in those moments like that?
Yeah, it's it's a Linus blanket. You want to have a sense of comfort in the dugout when things get a little hairy, or what's the next step, because the next step's got to go well for us and things like that. And I think it was nice to pitch Cam in certain situations as a freshman because he had good stuff. He likes to compete, but it's a different deal now with him because he's matured a lot as a person. Obviously, it carries over into how he handles situations on the field, but I just think where he's at in his development overall in his time here is a deal where, as a coach, you feel like you can put him in any situation. We can start him, we can close him, we can do anything in between. And I think, too, he's kind of figured out, all right, they kind of see me as a Swiss Army knife, so I got to figure out my routines during the week where I can pitch almost any day, or I can bounce back quicker than I have before. And it's gotten to a point where maybe in his early career, the coaches are like, can you get ready because we may want to use you again, to now he's in our face. I think he's been watching Redmond Walsh, and he's in our face nonstop of I'm good to go or I want the ball again.
Yeah, Coach, Chase Burns bounced back pretty well against Florida after a couple of down weeks. What do you think that does for his confidence moving into a big weekend series this weekend?
I just think it gets him centered. I've said it a few times. He got off the rails a little bit in a weekend there and then let it carry over to another because he overthought it. And there is a time to think. I mean, there's periods of the year where Coach A works with those guys with all kinds of technology, and they're the only ones around, and then they'll come up to the office and review it. And there's certain times where that's got to get done. And you do need to make adjustments during the course of the season. But right now, we're marching towards May. And that's the time of year where you just go out and compete. And I think having a good outing allows him to come back to center and say, this is who I am. Clearly, it's good enough. And so let's go out and let's compete and also have fun while you're doing it, instead of having clouded thoughts or too many minds when you're out there.
Your team obviously playing well on the weekends and on the field, but off the field also getting the job done. How big is the point of pride that it's Logan Steenstra, who's the McWhorter nominee from Tennessee?
Yeah, it's phenomenal, and it carries over from a talk we had on Sunday. A kid who has to sit on the bench over the course of a weekend when he's fully capable of doing some things that the other team is doing and also that our guys are doing, and then goes out there and plays as well as he did. I mean, he almost hit a homer in extra innings, which everyone can tends to try to be the guy to end the game, and it wasn't that type of at-bat at all. It was a great at-bat, but the bigger play was him sticking his nose in that deal at first base where Jarrell picks up a good bunt and throws it over there, and it's bang, bang. So he's getting it done on and off the field, but there's a lot of other guys too. And, I was on the Nashville on the radio this morning and talked about our guys being villains, which is fine. I don't know the whole story because I don't want to know. Ignorance is bliss sometimes, I guess, but I don't see all the social media stuff. But our guys are really competitive on the field, and they're really good kids off the field. And the ones that haven't been good off the field, we've corrected them, or leaders like Evan Russell and Drew Gilbert and Logan Steenstra have corrected them. So I don't know what other combination you would want, in particular in college. Maybe in pro sports you can run amok a little bit more, or the Mets special here type of thing. But he's one of many guys that you would feel comfortable. I say this delicately. I do have nieces, and Frank's got a daughter. You would feel okay, I guess, with them hanging around them off the field. But on the field, they want to win, and so do we. And no one wants to win more than Tennessee fans, especially in this time period. So I think it's a great combination. And if other people don't like it, then what are we going to do about it? I've said it before. It's the SEC, and what makes this league go round, and I hate even saying it, but what pays salaries, and now what is involved in NIL is the fan bases. And they are the best and the wildest in the country, and that includes pro sports.
Ryan, and we'll finish with Joseph.
Seems like McLaughlin's role has steadily increased this season. Just in such a crowded bullpen, how has he been able to kind of grow or gain y'all's confidence?
Came into the office and said, "Give me the dang ball." And I think literally said, "Dang." He's another one. He's too nice of a kid. And I think people are misconstrued, too, when they see him pitch, because maybe not as much emotion as Cam Sewell and not as big of a mustache as Kirby and other things like that. He just goes out there and gets the job done. And when you get to know him, he does have a goofy, fun side, and he's also an intelligent kid, but he's going to have a stoic presence out there, and he's going to get the job done. And we thought he could be that guy, and we kind of held it against him a little bit, or maybe tried to make him earn it a little bit. But all he's done is say, "Give me the ball, this is what I can do," and he's done it. And to be honest with you, it's not the first time. He's got a little bit of a track record to lean on there and some good experience. But again, now we're deep into the year, so his experience is recent, and his success has been recent too.
Tony, going back to the starting rotation, obviously they started the season exceeding expectations, and now all three guys have kind of hit a bump in the road, seen some adversity in a game. Just as a coach, is that kind of comforting now that they've been able to face that adversity and be able to learn from that experience moving on?
Yeah, it's progress to me. I mean, you don't want to get too deep in the year where you're seen as perfect or untouchable. That could be your hitting numbers, your team numbers, or your pitching numbers. So it's progress, I think, to get punched, to experience a little bit of fear or doubt and know what it's like, because it's there. You can try and ignore it, but that's just only going to make it worse. So all those things are mixed into one pot, and you got to kind of make your own batch of whatever you think is going to make you successful. And to really find out how successful you can be, you have to experience those things. And it doesn't mean we got to have a miserable year, but I've used as an example a team, and I think maybe even said it to you all. We faced a team last year at the very end of the year, close to the end of the year, that if you looked at their resume, it was like, man, this didn't go well. And then it kind of did and didn't. And they had to, every team's got their own story going on. They had to kind of figure out what was going on. And in the end, they were stronger for it. And I think this group, fortunately, is talented enough and has enough leadership that a lot of the lessons we've learned have come without a big black eye attached to them.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all.